It's not a rumor anymore. It's real. And it's more dangerous than anyone expected. When Ferrari revealed the SF26, they didn't just unveil a car. They introduced a machine that looks legal, sounds clean, and hides something no one can quite explain. Not Mercedes. Not Red Bull. Not even the FIA. And then they put Lewis Hamilton in it. Not for symbolism, but for the fight. Because this time, Ferrari didn't chase raw power. They chased something quieter and possibly smarter. A power unit so calculated, so technically conservative, that the real threat isn't what it does. It's what it avoids. And the moment it touches the track in Bahrain, it may expose something the FIA isn't ready to confront. Because if Ferrari's system is as bulletproof as insiders claim, Hamilton won't just be fast. He'll be untouchable. Ferrari's 2026 launch was never going to be just another car presentation. Not when Lewis Hamilton is standing there in red for the first time in his career. Not when the entire grid knows that this season isn't just about speed, but about which team understood the new rules first. The reveal in Fiorano was tightly choreographed. Controlled. Leclerc and Hamilton walked the paddock together like a unified front. But the car behind them said something else entirely. Not dramatic. Not experimental. Just efficient. The SF26 doesn't scream innovation. It whispers calculation. No exaggerated winglets, no complex sidepod reshaping. Even the cooling layout, at first glance, looks conservative. But that's the first warning sign. Because Ferrari wasn't there to show off. They were there to present a weapon that's been stripped of distractions. A car designed around one idea, pass every FIA test, without ever revealing the real trick. The team didn't open the engine cover. They gave no insight into the power unit's internal configuration. They offered no public confirmation about electric deployment strategies. And that silence wasn't an oversight. It was the message. While Mercedes drew attention, willingly or not, with their visible engine complexity, and Red Bull hinted at radical suspension shifts, Ferrari stood still. Their message was one of total control. And that's where the tension begins. Because when Ferrari plays loud, it usually means they're trying to recover. But when they go quiet like this, it usually means they're already ahead. And the fact that Hamilton chose this version of Ferrari, not the one from 5 years ago, not the one stuck chasing Red Bull, suggests he's already seen something the rest of us haven't. Yet. What Ferrari showed the world in Fiorano was pristine. Almost too pristine. But inside the technical community, engineers are already asking a different question. What didn't Ferrari want us to see? Because within hours of the launch, rumors started circulating about a series of internal tests, run behind closed doors weeks before the public rollout. Tests that focused not on top speed, but on energy timing. Specifically, how and when the SF26 delivers electric torque under acceleration. Two independent sources, both close to powertrain analysis firms contracted by suppliers, claim that Ferrari has developed a deployment logic that rebalances how hybrid energy is distributed during key phases of a lap. Not increasing power, not bypassing limits, but shifting the moment that power arrives to places the FIA isn't actively measuring. And that's critical. Because while everyone's focused on combustion, on Mercedes' high-temp tricks and Red Bull's fuel modeling, Ferrari might have built a system that wins not by being explosive, but by being invisible. If this leak is real, if Ferrari's new hybrid map creates late-lap torque delivery without tripping deployment sensors, then what they've done isn't just clever. It's almost undetectable. And the engineers who've seen the data aren't calling it fast. They're calling it impossible to challenge without rewriting the rulebook. If the leak is accurate, then Ferrari hasn't cheated. They've just interpreted the rules better. The 2026 regulations are meant to limit the total amount of deployable electric energy per lap, as well as when and where it can be harvested and released. But the exact timing of that release, especially during transitional phases, isn't fully defined. It's modeled, not policed. Measured in ranges, not absolutes. And that's where Ferrari may have struck. Instead of trying to overpower the grid, they've built a car that quietly sidesteps the enforcement zone. No sudden spikes. No detectable gains through early acceleration. Just a smooth, almost delayed, deployment curve. That delivers torque exactly when other cars are starting to fade. It's not illegal. But it is problematic. Because it leaves the FIA in the same corner they faced in 2019 with Ferrari's fuel flow system. Back then, Ferrari was accused of pulsing fuel in bursts. That averaged out to legal numbers, but bypassed the intent of the rule. No sensor could catch it. No protest could prove it. And by the time the FIA reacted, the system was already withdrawn. Silently, without admission of guilt. But with just enough suspicion to shadow the rest of the season. Now it's happening again. Only this time, the data trail might be even harder to follow. Because electricity leaves fewer fingerprints than fuel. And if Ferrari's system operates within the model, without triggering outliers, then there may be no clear path to protest. And that makes this gray area far more dangerous. Because it doesn't just reward clever engineering. It punishes the teams that followed the rules too literally. The system might be legal. The strategy might be brilliant. But the real threat to the FIA is the driver behind the wheel. Because this isn't just any Ferrari launch. It's Lewis Hamilton's first season in red. A move that rewrote the political map of Formula One. Before a single lap was completed. And Hamilton doesn't just bring talent. He brings pressure. If this were Charles Leclerc alone or any other name, the FIA might be able to manage the situation behind the scenes. Review the data. Issue a quiet clarification. Let the season evolve in silence. But with Hamilton, that won't happen. Because if the FIA makes a move that even hints at protecting Mercedes, or if they hesitate while Ferrari's system starts delivering results, Hamilton won't stay quiet. He'll speak. Maybe not in the press room, but in coded language. In interviews. In moments designed to make headlines. And force the governing body into the spotlight. And the FIA doesn't want that. Because it's not just about 2026 anymore. It's about legacy. About trust. This is the one driver who's already accused the system of failing him before. This is the one driver whose words reach beyond motorsport. And now, he's wearing red. Driving a car that's technically perfect and politically explosive. That's what really keeps the FIA up at night. If Ferrari's system holds. If it passes every inspection, every sensor check, every post-race teardown, then the rest of the grid has a decision to make. Copy it. Or fall behind for the rest of the season. Because under the 2026 engine freeze, teams can't simply redesign power units mid-year. Core components are homologated. Major changes require unanimous approval. Something that rarely happens in a political climate like this. So if Ferrari starts the season strong, with Hamilton consistently on the podium even without dominating Saturdays, the rest of the field will have no real way to respond. They'll be chasing shadows. Because Ferrari's advantage won't show up in qualifying. It won't light up sector times. It'll appear in moments that are hard to isolate. Lap 39, corner exit. Final sector surge. Late race battery consistency when everyone else is lifting. And the scary part? There's no guarantee it can be proven. Even if Mercedes or Red Bull launch protests, they'll need hard telemetry, not suspicion, to force a review. And by the time the FIA even considers stepping in, Ferrari could have a triple-digit points lead. At that stage, it's not just a competitive imbalance. It's reputational damage to the rulebook, the teams, and the FIA itself. And the one person they won't be able to silence? Lewis Hamilton. In a legal car. Winning clean. And demanding answers. This isn't over. In fact, it may not have even started yet. Because everything we've seen so far, the launch, the silence, the controlled messaging, has been designed to avoid attention. To pass through the chaos surrounding Mercedes and Red Bull, without becoming a headline. But once the lights go out in Bahrain, once Hamilton starts pushing that system across full race distance, whatever Ferrari has built will be exposed. Not to the cameras, not to the fans, but to the teams watching the data streams, and realizing that something doesn't add up. And when that happens, when someone inside the paddock finally says what's already being whispered, there will be no going back. Because this time, Ferrari isn't bending the rules. They're obeying them to the letter. And if that's the case, then the FIA will be forced to decide what they're actually protecting. The written regulation, or the idea of fair competition. And if Hamilton starts winning not just races, but arguments, then the SF26 will become more than just a car. It'll become a precedent. One that every team will have to respond to. And one the FIA may not be ready to face. Not yet.